All right, so we're back, and you know what that means. It's time for another deep dive.
Time to go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, exactly. And today, we're tackling something that I feel like is always generating, debate and discussion online.
Always a hot topic.
Always a hot topic, and that is single moms in the dating market.
Oh, yeah.
So we found this Reddit thread that went viral, and it features a 32-year-old guy. And he's basically venting his frustrations about how it seems like almost everyone he encounters in the dating pool is a single mom.
Right.
And it really resonated with a lot of commenters. Like a lot of people were saying, yeah, me too. Like it seems like that's the majority of the dating pool these days.
And it is interesting because, we are seeing these societal shifts that are definitely playing into this whole dynamic. We're seeing more people having children outside of marriage. Divorce rates continue to be significant. So statistically speaking, it kind of makes sense that there would be this larger portion of single parents in the dating pool now.
And, this guy, he actually recounts a relationship that he had with a single mom that went pretty badly.
Oh.
And he talks about feeling like he was stepping into this role of provider without any real authority in the relationship, constantly being compared to the ex, and just generally navigating all the kind of emotional complexities of a blended family.
Right. And I think that, while his experience certainly isn't universal, it does bring up these really important questions about those unique dynamics that do come into play when you're talking about blended families.
And this is where I think that term alpha widow comes in, because one commenter brought that up.
Yeah.
And it's basically describing women who are constantly comparing their current partner to some idealized love interest from the past.
Yeah, and it's so interesting how unresolved feelings from those past relationships can really sabotage the potential for a healthy and fulfilling relationship in the present.
Yeah, and for this guy in the thread, he really seemed to feel stuck in that dynamic of like being expected to be the dad without any real say in things.
And from a psychological standpoint, it really underscores that need for clear role definitions and boundaries in any relationship, but especially in blended families.
Yeah, if those lines get blurry, resentment and conflict can definitely bubble up.
Oh, for sure.
And another thing that came up a lot in this thread was the issue of prioritization and time constraints. And this was something that even single dads were chiming in on, because they were like, yeah, you're dating someone whose kids naturally come first. And that can lead to limited availability, scheduling conflicts, just a totally different pace of life than someone who's child-free.
Yeah, and it's not about saying that's wrong or judging anyone's priorities. It's just recognizing that when you are a single parent, you're operating on a full plate all the time.
Yeah, you're juggling a lot.
And so, being successful in that kind of dating situation requires that both people are communicating openly and have realistic expectations.
And then there's the whole financial aspect. Some commenters were expressing concern about feeling like they're being seen as a provider or taken advantage of.
Right. And this is a sensitive topic, but it is a reality of the situation in a lot of cases.
Like, it's not necessarily that anyone's specifically looking for a sugar daddy or sugar mama, but there are those inherent financial burdens that often come with raising kids on your own.
Absolutely. And, if those financial strains aren't acknowledged and addressed, they can create a lot of tension and conflict within a relationship.
Now, it wasn't all doom and gloom in this thread. There were some people who were actually saying, hey, maybe single parents should just date other single parents. Like they thought that was a good solution because they both get it.
Yeah, there's a valid point there about shared experiences fostering that deeper understanding and empathy. A single parent can better relate to the unique challenges and joys of raising children while also trying to have a personal life.
Like if date night gets canceled because your kid is sick, you don't have to explain yourself.
Right, exactly. And there's that inherent level of understanding that can really make for a smoother dynamic.
But then again, just because someone is a single parent doesn't mean they'll automatically be compatible with another single parent.
Right. Personalities and values still matter.
Yeah, and several single moms were actually saying, hey, you can't just paint everyone with the same brush. Like they really wanted to emphasize that it's important to judge individuals based on their character and circumstances, not just on their relationship or parental status.
And that's a crucial reminder for all of us, to look at the person, not the label.
Location came up too. Like some people thought maybe dating in bigger cities might give you more chances of finding someone who hasn't started a family yet.
Well, it's true that in those urban areas, there tends to be a higher concentration of people who are focused on their careers before settling down and having kids.
So if you're looking for a partner without kids, maybe a bustling metropolis is the way to go.
It might increase your odds, statistically speaking.
But again, These are all just trends, right? Every individual's different, and you never know who you'll find where.
You could find anyone anywhere.
So I think so far we've gotten a good sense of like the initial wave of reactions to this guy's frustrations about the dating scene, the common sentiments about single moms in the dating pool, and some of the major themes that came up.
You've covered a lot of ground.
Yeah, so it's clear this is a topic that people have a lot of feelings about, and it's definitely important to consider both the challenges and the opportunities that come with dating someone who's already a parent.
Absolutely. And as we go deeper into this Reddit thread, we're going to find even more diverse viewpoints, personal anecdotes, and thought-provoking insights.
So stay tuned because in part 2, we're going to be dissecting some of the more controversial opinions that were expressed, and we'll examine how societal biases can sometimes influence our perceptions of single parents in the dating world.
So welcome back to the deep dive. And as we kind of keep going through this Reddit thread about single moms in the dating market, one thing that really stood out was how negative some of the viewpoints were.
Yeah, some of those comments were bordering on offensive even.
There were people talking about single moms as like damaged goods or having too much baggage.
Yeah, it was really judgmental.
And it's important to recognize how that kind of language can perpetuate harmful stereotypes. Being a single mom, it's not a one-size-fits-all experience. Everyone has their own unique story. So reducing them to these simplistic labels, it's dehumanizing.
Yeah, and there was this underlying assumption in some of the comments that becoming a single parent is always the result of bad choices. Like if you have a child outside of marriage or go through a divorce, somehow you're less deserving of finding love and happiness.
And that completely ignores all the countless factors that can lead to someone becoming a single parent. Life happens, relationships change, circumstances evolve, and it's important to approach these situations with empathy.
Exactly. You never know someone's whole story. And then there were these comments that were implying that single parents are just inherently difficult to date.
Right, like it's some universal truth, but those kinds of generalizations are insensitive and inaccurate.
Yeah, every relationship has its own challenges and rewards. And it's about approaching each connection with an open mind.
Definitely.
And then there were those comments that were saying like, well, if you're not ready to be a parent, then dating a single mom is basically a fast track to becoming a stepdad, whether you want to be or not.
Right, and that's why it's so important to be upfront about your expectations from the beginning. If you're not open to the possibility of being involved in a child's life, you need to be honest about that.
And the same goes for single parents, too. You need to be clear about what you're looking for in a partner.
Exactly. Are you looking for a co-parent? A supportive partner? Something else entirely? It's important to have those conversations.
And then, of course, the financial aspect came up quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
People were worried about being seen as a provider or being taken advantage of.
Right. And it's understandable that people have those concerns, but it's important to avoid making assumptions about someone's financial situation just because they're a single parent.
Not every single mom is struggling financially.
And not every guy who dates a single mom is expected to pay for everything.
Right. It's about having those open and honest conversations, just like you would in any other relationship.
Absolutely.
It did seem like some of the guys in this thread were kind of viewing single moms as a last resort. Like,
Yeah.
oh, well, if I can't find a childless woman, I guess I'll settle for a single mom.
And that kind of thinking is dehumanizing.
Yeah, it's really disrespectful.
Everyone deserves to be seen and valued for who they are, not as a fallback option.
Exactly.
It's about recognizing their worth as a person.
But it wasn't all bad, right? Like there were some really positive comments too.
Oh, yeah. Some people were actually talking about the benefits of dating single moms.
They were highlighting qualities like resilience, strength, their capacity for love.
Right. Those are all amazing qualities.
And it was so refreshing to see those perspectives because it kind of challenged all that negativity and those stereotypes.
It's a good reminder that we should approach every individual with curiosity and try to see beyond those labels.
One single mom in the thread was saying, like, she's not looking for a replacement father for her kid, but just someone who respects her parenting choices and can be a supportive partner.
Right. And that's so important to remember. Like, you're not stepping into a role that's already filled. You're coming in as a new person, offering support and understanding.
And another single mom was saying that she wants a partner who's already fulfilled in their own life, someone who has their own passions and interests.
Yes, that's so key in any relationship, but especially in this dynamic.
It's not about completing each other. It's about two whole people choosing to share their lives.
Exactly. And that can be really beautiful.
And then, of course, there were conversations about how to balance your own personal needs and desires with the responsibilities of single parenthood.
That can definitely be a challenge.
It's a delicate dance, and there's no easy answer.
Right, but open communication and a willingness to compromise are essential.
And, you have to be mindful of the other person's time constraints and priorities.
Absolutely.
And maybe get creative with how you spend time together. So I feel like we really explored like the full spectrum of this thread, the negative stuff, the more nuanced and hopeful viewpoints.
Yeah, we got a good sense of it all.
And I think it's clear that there's no easy answer when it comes to this topic.
It's all about approaching it with an open mind and a willingness to see beyond those stereotypes and assumptions.
One single dad was talking about how important it is to prioritize his kids, but also make time for his own happiness.
Yes, self-care is crucial.
You can be a great parent and still have a fulfilling romantic life.
Absolutely.
And so many people were emphasizing those honest conversations early on about expectations and boundaries,
Transparency is key in any relationship.
especially when you're dealing with blended families and, different lifestyles.
Be upfront about your needs, your expectations, and any potential deal breakers.
So it seems like the main takeaway here is to just be more open-minded and less judgmental in general.
Yeah, let's challenge those biases, have those uncomfortable conversations, and try to see each other as individuals.
And, we still have more to uncover from this Reddit thread.
So much to discuss.
So we're back and diving into the last part of this Reddit thread about dating single moms. And, going through all these different opinions has really shown me how differently people can see the same thing.
It's interesting how something like dating can become a bigger conversation about societal norms and family dynamics.
Yeah, for sure. And, one thing that kept coming up was the idea that maybe single parents should just date other single parents.
Right, like they'd understand each other better.
Yeah, because they've lived that experience. They get the unique challenges and joys that come with it.
Like you said before about date night getting canceled, you wouldn't need to explain why to another single parent,
Exactly. There's that automatic understanding.
which can definitely make things less stressful.
But even then, it's not a guarantee that the relationship will work out right.
No, not at all. I mean, relationships are complicated no matter who you are.
Yeah, compatibility is about more than just shared circumstances.
It's about values, communication styles, life goals, all that.
So really, it just comes back to that idea of being open-minded and seeing the person, not the label.
Exactly. Let's challenge those biases, have those tough conversations, and try to see each other as individuals.
So listeners, whether you're a single parent yourself or someone who's maybe hesitant to date single parents or somewhere in between, hopefully this deep dive has given you some things to think about.
This Reddit thread was just one small piece of a much larger conversation, but it showed us a lot about how society views single parenthood.
Yeah, it definitely got us thinking.
So here's something to consider. How can we all encourage more understanding and acceptance when talking about these topics? Single parents face so many challenges, but they also show incredible strength and resilience.
That's a great question for all of us to reflect on. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to subscribe to Voices of the Soul for more fascinating conversations. And don't forget to check out the Shauna Pelage YouTube channel for even deeper explorations of human connection. Thanks for joining us.